So one day you get a call and the client is like, hi, my name is so-and-so. I was given your number by so-and-so and I needed ABCD. So probably the name would be a kind of vague naming, and someone would basically maybe tell you, we need a dashboard. And then you are like, what kind of dashboard? They start explaining in some language which probably might be very confusing to you. But one strong skill that as a freelance or as a consultant one has to develop is being able to understand the needs of your client. So if someone calls you and asks you that we need a dashboard, your work is to basically understand or take them through the process of understanding what they really need. So in most cases, you'll find that clients probably, they know what they need as an end product, but they don't know what they need in technical aspects. So that said, this client who called and said we need a dashboard, probably you need to be, you don't just ask them, okay, what dashboard? And if they don't understand, you're like, okay, I don't understand your issue. Probably call me back when you have understood what you really want. So that you've already lost business. So essentially what you should do, I want to guide you what you should do. And this is what I've actually learned over the years that I've been within the industry. And this is what basically you can do. One, before we go to what we can do, why do clients basically have this kind of, or why does this kind of information flow happen? This is because the client does not know the technical elements or the terms or the possibilities of your GIS. And then, of course, I would say maybe most of the clients focus on what we call symptoms. And these symptoms are now the vague phrases like, we need a dashboard, we need something that can do routing, we need something like Google, we need something like Uber, we need something like, so those are what we call symptoms. And when you hear of the symptoms, just like a doctor asks or knows of the symptoms and is able to address or give medication, it's the same way as a consultant or as an expert you need to do. So once you hear or you know of those symptoms, it's now your responsibility to change or to bring together those symptoms and recommend a solution. So your role is to be a guide in this situation. And how do you become a guide? You do not just only, because remember, at that moment, you are not a solution provider. At that moment, you are acting as a guide. And as the guide does, your work is to be able to translate what the symptoms into a solution or into a possibility that the client can actually visualize and be able to understand. So the first question I usually ask is, what are you trying to solve? Okay, what problem are you trying to solve? The second question you can ask is, what are your envisioned outputs? What do you need to be delivered? And then the other thing is that who will be using this solution? Yeah, is it your client? Is it the public? Is it you internally? Is it an organization? Are they partners? Or who are they? So having those three questions, you may be able to understand maybe what problem this client wants to solve and what are who are the end users and what is the end goal of the project. And then the other thing that you can do is basically implement a framework that basically has 4 phases. And this framework, I would maybe term it as, you can listen to the client, and then you can basically clarify to the client. And then from the client, you'll be able to suggest issues. So the client who called and said, I need a dashboard, and they told you this dashboard, we need it to be used by ABCD for this and this purpose. The first thing is, in that one, we can actually add a routing mechanism, which will be able to track ABCD or be able to track your fleet, because these fleets, wherever they are going, we can actually know where they are in real time, blah, 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 blah. All these are stories you can tell, and as long as you phrase them within the context of their problem, they'll be able to understand. And this is what I'm calling suggest. And then after you suggest and they are okay with that, then you can confirm. So the framework or the process basically has the 4 parts, where you listen, you clarify, you suggest, and then you confirm. Once you've confirmed with this client, your work will become so easy, because now you already understand the whole ecosystem or the whole solution that the client wants. Remember, of course, there will be the different development mechanisms, such as where the client probably might change midway, but it will depend with how you want to phrase your work or how you want to work with this client. Either you tell them, maybe this is what we need to do over this period of time, this is the cost, and for any change, probably this will be the cost. That one now will be your own agreements with the client, and that will depend on how the terms that you have. But one good thing about being a consultant is being able to turn what you call confusion into ideas or into value. Okay? Because the client who probably needed something but they're not very sure of, you cannot just tell them off. You just turn that confusion into value because you need that for your business or for your work. Then the other bit I would say is that the moment, I know sometimes there are people or there are guys that have heard of stories where maybe guys have taken advantage of the client because the client does not understand. You just deliver something that probably is an undershot to the client solution. But remember, this might have a negative effect to you in the future because one day this client will maybe present this solution or will maybe showcase this solution in a forum or in an institution to a client. And probably in that meeting, there's someone who understands deeply of what they would have achieved. And when those questions are raised, then it becomes another issue, or it can even actually tarnish your name within the industry. So the best would be take this client keenly, assume that this is someone you need to guide them, to show them the way, be able to deliver a solution that works, and offer value at the marketplace, because this value is what will market you into the next. Of course, you've had stories whereby in a year, most of the clients that you get, probably over 70% will come from your existing networks. So imagine turning away 70% of the business because you just did something wrong within the industry. So it's good to basically have goodwill, be able to guide this client, and also look at the future. In some cases, I've had clients that have worked on over 5 projects, and the reason as to why this has happened is because I've been able to, I was able to guide them through a process. Some of them, I even tell them that we are going to do this project in phases. So phase 1, this is what we'll achieve. Phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, all the way to the different phases, depending on their goodwill, on their achievements that they want within the organization. So these are some of the issues or some of the ways you can guide the client, and you'll be able to actually get along with them. And then it's good to avoid some of these pitfalls, because there's someone who, once they call, you're like, okay, I think you don't understand, don't talk, or maybe call me back once you get clarity on the requirements or something of the sort. Remember, this is a business, and the client is not a geospatial expert, and that's why they are seeking your services. So after you've done all this and after you confirm, it always advise also don't start projects when you are not very clear of what you are doing, because you might spend a whole week doing something and probably the client wanted something else. So it's always good to have clarity first. Make sure that you make that client understand what they need, confirm what they want, and after that, then you can start off. And of course, I would say that this is what most of the industry clients, this is what you'll get. Unless an organization probably has internal expertise on geospatial technologies and all that, where they now get you very outlined or very clear requirements. If the organization does not have this role, then you should assume that you are the one to guide them on what to do and what kind of solution that you can make for them or you can deliver to them. So as long as the client calls, always assume that you need to offer guidance before you can start offering a solution to the client. So with that, I hope that helps you in the industry and helps you move your career forward in the industry.